It's a proper English brew.
Welcome back to Fuck Salad.
You alright, mate?
Cheers.
It's the UK edition.
I got my boy Az here.
Got a vegan tea.
We have just made our way into the car. It's a pretty cold night tonight.
A little bit.
This tea we thought it'd be a good idea to just have on the podcast / talk show, because this is a talk show. This is where we this is where we pull people out of the DMs into the car in a not so creepy way. That's kind of what I've been saying a bit. But for Az, it's a little different because Az and I, we're not in the DMs much. I'm usually trying to like FaceTime him at like 2 a.m. to like come over and help with edits or some crazy stuff.
It's true.
Az is also a videographer, pretty much all around event planner. If you've been to any of our events or my events, it's not just mine, it's also his and Corba's when he helps out.
When he's there.
I don't know. Let's give. There's so many different things to unpack here. I don't know where to even begin with you.
Let's take a ride, bro. Start her up.
Let's start her up. Okay. You want to go for the drive, eh?
That's what it's about, man.
This is true. I'm gonna start. I don't even know when you started doing videography. How old do you think you were?
As far back as I can remember, I was making videos.
In the UK?
Same as you. Yeah, same as you, man. Like, always just messing about with cameras and stuff, and just always really intrigued by film and storytelling as well. Like, I was always just fascinated by that as a kid. Like, I'd spend hours watching movies, but also like going into the special features and all that.
Yeah.
All the behind the scenes always just like fascinated me. I was mega obsessed with like Lord of the Rings and like all those, crazy movies back then.
Love those movies.
Yeah, but just stuff like that, like big films, and just the storytelling aspect of it all.
If you're not careful here, Emma's gonna pop up. If you're not careful.
Don't forget your seatbelt.
Thank you, Emma.
I think for anyone watching this who knows who I am and knows who you are, like together working, maybe they don't know your kind of like your story in terms of like, why is there this British guy in KW?
Yeah.
Do you want to kind of like unpack that a little bit?
Yes.
When did you like get here? And why?
So my dad actually, he used to live here in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
So he had a farm out in Stratford in the 80s.
Cool, Stratford.
So he's kind of been back and forth and had this connection with Canada for a long time before I was around, before any of us were around. So he used to live out in Stratford in the 80s. Then he moved back to England and had me. So then we, lived in England for a while. I grew up there till I was around 12, maybe 11 actually. And then we emigrated back. But it all started out really was my uncle, my dad's brother. He basically spun a globe, as weird as it sounds, pointed his finger, and he landed on Kitchener of where he wanted to move to because he wanted to get out of England and do something different and change his life. So him and his best mate moved out here, and that was it. So then slowly from there, all my dad's side of the family started emigrating over. So they'd come and visit my uncle and everything, and my dad would come out and visit, and everyone just kind of fell in love with the place because it's such a drastically different place to England as far as like how big everything is and spread out, and the wide open spaces and just the houses and everything was just a bit more like luxurious than what my family in England were used to growing up and stuff. And they're all in their early 20s and everything, so Canada to them is like, wow, this is another world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everyone kind of started trickling over. So my dad's dad moved over as well, my grandparents. Everyone on my dad's side started kind of slowly emigrating. So then we were the last ones kind of left.
Oh, that's snow. Sorry.
We were kind of the last ones left in England on my dad's side of the family. So on my mum's side is still there, but everyone on my dad's side had moved here. So we had tons of family in Kitchener based here. So we'd come on holidays all the time, like every year as kids. Me and my brothers and my mum and dad, we'd come over and visit. So we had a strong connection with Kitchener to begin with.
Crazy.
So
actually I didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't even.
Well, I'm glad. This is why.
Yeah,
I
it's
put
good
people on the podcast, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And then we met, I guess.
Yeah, what was it?
7 or 8 years later. after your high school days.
Must have been, yeah.
After my high school days.
I think it was 2 years ago?
2 or 3 years ago.
2 years ago, probably.
We met through a mutual that tried to screw us both over.
Yeah.
In hindsight.
Yeah. Not so good mutual connection.
Yeah, we definitely we try and keep it positive on this podcast talk show. I keep saying
podcast, mate.
But that's actually so funny because you said that you listen to podcasts or talk shows the same way I do.
Yeah.
Like new tabs on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
just in the background while we're editing.
So that's the way to do it. That's the editing grind. And then so speaking of editing, video came into your life earlier on. Mm-hmm. When did it start to become like it is your career now? It is what you do.
Yeah, full time, yeah.
When did you start to like take it seriously? Because probably around the time we were talking. Because I remember you were asking me questions, OG questions, before we ever had that phone call.
Yeah.
You were like, tell me about your T3i. You're like, how's my stuff look? I'm like, bro, it's actually 5 for a T3i.
Yeah, everyone used to say that.
And
T3i
it actually, like, you definitely, I would say you defined, you and I gotta give credit to Alice Phillips, ripping that T1i for photos and stuff. Man. Just using
what you have.
What you have. You're rinsing what you have, right?
Rinsing it.
Because you made the most out of that camera, and then sure enough,
it lasted me a while too.
But then when you upgraded, that was actually, it feels like I know when you upgraded. Because you literally just were renting for a while too,
less than 2 years ago.
I guess it was
probably
still
a year and a half.
It was serious before then though, because you were renting.
No, I'm talking about the camera, but yeah. So like I said, yeah, just been into films and creative stuff and camera work basically my whole life. Making like stupid little videos with your mates, all the home video stuff, like little short films and all that. Grew up doing all that, as most filmmakers do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, then it really became serious. I was in grade 12. I did a magnet course for my high school, grade 12, second semester, like my last semester of high school. So I was at Paris High School, but the school in Brantford offered a magnet course, which is media arts, which Paris didn't offer. So I was like, that's perfect. If I can get a magnet and do my last semester in Brantford and do this media course, which will then, give me the skills I need, at least further the skills that I already kind of had to, go out and really do this. So with this media course, you could kind of focus on what what you wanted to do, what avenue you wanted to explore. So you could do film, you could do graphic design, sound design, whatever. It was like an all-encompassing media arts program, which I thought was really sick. Right. So I'd done a Rogers co-op in grade 11, so that was my first kind of hands-on experience, working with proper cameras, doing like the TV, communications and all that kind of stuff. So I did that in grade 11. Grade 12 was like, okay, I'm going to do this media arts course, take it serious, and focus on film. So every single project I got to do was me making my own short films, my own movies, writing scripts, all that kind of stuff. So I absolutely love that course, met some great people there, great connections, and then this was around the time when the Canon 60D just dropped. If you remember that with the flip that came out with the little 60D. Yeah, the 60D. Yeah. And I was literally looking through a magazine in media arts class and I saw that camera and just the ad for it and everything just was so enticing. I was like, damn, I need that. That's going to be my first camera and I'm going to just start from there.
I'll call it here. This is going to be the longest episode.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that, my friend.
Cheers to that.
2 a.m.
Yeah, fuck.
We're doing a crazy,
it's a late one.
Crazy editing session tonight. I feel like we do that often. We stay up late, plan trips to New York, plan events.
All sorts of madness.
I don't even know which madness element should we touch on first. Maybe let's dive into.
I think I need to finish that topic first because I'm just gonna.
Yo, please tell me.
Well, the original question was when did I start taking it seriously? So let me just jump back.
Let's do it.
So jump back. 60D was what I had my eyes on. I was like, all right, can't afford that. Then the T3i comes out, same flip screen, which was what I really wanted, was the flip screen. I just thought that was sick for like videos, getting them angles and shit, like the low angles, being able to, really utilize that for music videos and stuff. Anyway, got the T3i, bought my first camera, and then that was it. Just started making videos, started linking up with random like rappers from Brantford, because I was in Brantford doing my media courses. Always starts out with the random rappers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know, you know those ones. Oh. So yeah, all the local rappers in Brantford started doing really cheap videos, and I think I put an ad on Kijiji and just said like,
right on.
Professional videographer.
Yeah.
Something like that, and then started getting random gigs. And just, went from there, taught myself. I was doing like $200 videos back then. Yeah. And that was it.
Now we're up to 20 racks, right?
Yeah.
And then I do definitely look up to you in terms of like you do that and now you're also been popping off with the clothing. Lost Vessel.
Yeah, respect, man, respect.
Honestly, like, and I'm not gonna credit myself because I don't deserve the credit, but that definitely popped after Beyond the Gram. Like, you went for it. You were ready to go for it then.
Yeah. I think it had been an idea for a long time. Me and Andrew Corber, big up. He's missing tonight, but I'm sure he'll make an appearance at some point.
He'll show up in a New York episode once or twice.
Yeah, he's somewhere out there.
But no, since then you've been growing Lost Vessel, and with the events that you attend, and then that like you host yourself. What is kind of like your next steps for growing that out? What are you guys like kind of scheming?
Well, the dream, the idea, the concept behind it was always to have a shop. That's where the Lost Vessel name came from originally. It was the idea of it being like a time capsule. So it's a Lost Vessel, literally like a time capsule, which is full of all this crazy like 80s, 90s like relics from time, you know what I mean? Really nostalgic, like weird stuff that you can't find anywhere. It's almost like lost in time. We both love vintage, we both love fashion. Back then, you know, in early days in like high school and all that, we were like shopping at Value Village and finding crazy stuff. No one else was doing that, right? Not to say like, oh, we were the first ones doing this. Obviously, you know, millions of people do it. Yeah. But like in our area especially, like no one was really dressing in like vintage clothing or like getting those rare pieces or anything, but we were always in thrift stores separately as well. Like we weren't always like going together and or looking for stuff to sell. We were always just looking for personal pieces just to add to our collection and just kind of have something different and unique that no one else had, right? So that was always kind of a thing that we, you know, mutually connected on. And then it was just like one day we were like, yo, how sick would it be to have a shop and like do this, you know, because we just have such a passion for it. Yeah. It just seemed like such a good fit. So we just always kind of like talked about it, not really, you know, thinking it anything serious, but just thinking like one day, you know, like we'll open a store. Imagine that, like having our own shop, also just like a place for creatives to come and like hang out, connect, and like just put in work, you know what I mean? So
that's the big one.
Kind of a creative hub, right? That was always the idea. So like have this crazy like vintage shop with all this, you know, amazing stuff in it, but also have like the little couch area where people are editing and working on music or working on video or anything, right? Anything creative. So that was kind of always the dream. And then we got this opportunity. One of our mates, Kurt, who does music as well, he was doing a little album release party at the Button Factory, and we were like, yo, let's just gather like anything that we have in our closets and see what we can sell, and like we'll actually just drop this for like our first event, like put the name out there, let's just like go for it and do it. So we had this like tiny little like setup. We had 2 chintzy racks.
Is that when you were DJing?
Yeah. So I DJ'd the event as well.
Yeah.
I did like a DJ set late night, but yeah, he did the album release and everything, but we, you know, ran it by him. We're like, yo, what would you think of this? Having like a little vintage pop-up. He's like, yeah, cool, man, like down for it. Don't really know how it's gonna go. we show up, it's pitch black in there. First pop-up we'd ever done, pitch black. We had no lights with us, 2 little chintzy Walmart racks, and like 20 pieces maybe. And then like people are coming in and like trying to hang their coats on it, thinking it's like the coat rack and like shit like that. So I think we sold 1 piece. We made $20. There you go. First pop-up.
We gotta start somewhere.
But it gave us the, you know, the inspiration. We had the opportunity to actually go out and do it and be like, okay, we're gonna try and do this. Yeah. So that was the first thing that kind of like put us out there. And then we were connecting at that time around, you know, early 2018, 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2018, yeah.
And then you approached me with the Beyond the Gram event. Yeah. And then that was really our first serious pop-up where we're like, okay, we're going to get something printed out, have the name, have the Instagram, like we'll start the page. Yeah. We'll have some like better racks. Yeah. Have the neon sign, you know, the open sign and everything, like make it a bit more of a thing. So
love it.
That was kind of...
I'm thinking it's so cool hearing about you guys talking about the lighting and how that first event...
That's a huge thing, man.
Because I think I actually might have to jump in here and say that I'm offering $500 to anyone who has a photo of Corba at Digital Glue on a 13-foot ladder hanging from the rafters, please. Attaching lights. If you have a photo of that on your cell phone,
bonus points if it's a video.
I will literally pay $500. I want that framed. We'll put that on a billboard.
Middle of a party on a 20-foot ladder.
Insane.
Hanging lights.
Oh, man. And Digital Glue is like definitely, I'd say...
That was a big one.
The heightened of our events, which I think is cool because then it transitioned into these abroad excursions. Like since Digital Glue,
that's kind of taken a whole new.
We just like left
in itself. Yeah.
Like forget the events, local. Yeah. We're going to just build pieces of content like anywhere. And it's cool that then your video and your photo, your video and your clothing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, that's what we kind of always thought. It all kind of connects and can all really work well together. So
we should run that a little ad here. Here, hold on a second. We'll be right back.
It's gonna be hard to top that one,
but we are going to.
Welcome back anyway. Vince is letting his tea go cold.
Oh well.
Barely sipping it.
What was your favorite part of that New York trip? Because we've done New York a few times now, or at least New York State.
Yeah.
That
like man, there's just so
House
much.
of Yes.
House of Yes was definitely a highlight.
Inspired Fridge fragrances.
No.
Oh,
it kind of just
inspired the next couple events.
Yeah, it inspired the events to come. But I think the connection with Fritch and then what we discovered in that scene in New York was a crazy sort of like synchronicity moment of like, wow, this music, this scene, like we had that vibe for our Fritch event, and then we come to something that's like this crazy underground New York scene. You can't even explain it on camera. Like you can't really.
It's not.
You have to experience it. But
yeah, it's one of those many things in life where you definitely just can't explain it. But it's so you feel like you almost can. But it's just it was.
Then you
so
start talking about it, it's like no, this doesn't do it justice.
No, it definitely doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, that was a wild one. That was probably the best night we had out. But
I get all of our memories all confused because I think like we did Los Angeles last year, and I think of Tenants of the Trees.
Yeah, that was a wild one.
And just all the different all the vegan we've been eating.
The vegan scene in Los Angeles, vegan scene in New York. I think definitely top 2 places for vegan.
Where do you want to start? Should we go back to LA first? Because we did LA.
Yeah.
Best vegan.
Or wait, what about Buffalo?
Buffalo OG?
Buffalo OG.
Okay, so I guess we'll
the first trip.
The first trip. The trip that definitely woke me up a little bit.
No, I was. Yeah, actually, that you weren't even vegan then.
Well, I was.
No, you weren't even.
I was. I was trying.
Bro, no.
Okay. Well,
you were so on the opposite side.
I was. You're right. Yeah, you're totally right. But
you were not there yet.
Yes, you're totally right. I will not.
Your viewpoint back then was.
My viewpoint was a lot different.
A lot different. But I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just.
No.
Thinking back to it, that's crazy.
Yeah, because there was moments.
It wasn't that long ago.
Because I would say, oh yes, I'm vegan, and then I would let things slip and play it off like it wasn't a big deal. Because I was like, oh, I don't care. Like it's like I still am because like it just slipped past me.
Yeah.
But then and even like I wasn't very hypocritical, because like I was always like, oh, you can't just say you're vegan and like not follow through. But I would say like, oh yeah, I eat. What did I say? It's like, oh, I make plant-based decisions. Like I went heavy on like some like that, tried to like not cheat the system.
Yeah.
But it just was like kind of bent.
Which though, on that topic is not a bad thing. Like it doesn't have to be all or nothing kind of thing. I think that's where people get like kind of disheartened with the whole thing, is like they're thinking, oh, I could never do this because I can't give up this one thing, or like I could never have this again in my whole life. It's like it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's about making better choices and better steps towards a bit more of an ethical, environmentally friendly, sustainable way of life, right?
So I was making the right steps, but it was 5 a.m. and
we were belligerent,
trying to win an argument against you and Kayla.
It was a heated debate. Yeah, two vegans
against like I don't know who I was.
Big up Kayla as well.
Big up Kayla for that. But yes, so since then, just game changer. Then just knowing that 2019 was all in Los Angeles. Not gonna say it makes it easier, but like
that's like the mecca though for vegan food, bro.
Unbelievable. So if we are to
LA,
start there,
York, definitely.
Favorite vegan spot that we had together in Los Angeles in 2019 has to be Olak.
Has to be Olak, bro. That was my spot. I made us go to. I was like, bro,
you wouldn't shut up about it.
We cannot. Since I went last time on my previous LA trip, I was like, we cannot be in LA and not go to Olak.
Shrimp,
out of this world, man.
Pork chop,
octopus. Like you can't even make this shit up, man.
Insane.
I don't know what those chefs are doing down there, what they're smoking, or like
unbelievable.
Their creativity is out of this world, man. Like
it was like that. I was like, I don't know why I wasn't anti-Olak, but Az just wouldn't shut up about we need to go to this spot.
It's true.
We need to go to this spot, and I'm like, okay, we'll go, but like, what is the big deal? Like, what is
like
it?
It's so out of the way, man. Like,
and he's like, trust me, Vince, just shut up. And Yeah, we
did
did
not
that.
disappoint.
And then it's funny, those are the moments that like just wake you up, because then I think even in New York, getting that Chinese food, Chris was adamant about this fish. And I was kind of just like, why are we spending $30 on a fish?
30 US or something. No, it wasn't even that bad.
But I don't know how to describe that, man.
That definitely had to be the highlight of the New York vegan experience.
And that's for anyone listening or watching, like when we say fish, this isn't like vegetarian, pescatarian. This was like
fully vegan.
This was
no
like
animal products. Even when we mentioned shrimp, octopus.
Yeah.
Or like totally vegan restaurant.
And that, but how did like?
But not sacrificing the flavor or the textures of like what you would be used to eating those kinds of foods. Like you don't have to give anything up. That's the best thing. You can veganize anything.
What would you say to? I come across a lot of people who would say that maybe their argument is like texture or something. But sometimes they try and spill the word flavor, and it's like there's way more flavor in vegan options.
Well, the thing is, the flavor doesn't come from the animal products; it comes from the seasoning, right?
Yeah.
Like raw meat is not flavorful.
Yeah.
Or like a piece of chicken that's been cooked with absolutely zero seasoning. 9 times out of 10, people who are eating chicken are not eating a plain piece of chicken. It's the seasoning, it's the breading, it's the deep frying, it's the oils, it's everything else, which is plant-based, that's making it flavorful. So it's kind of funny in that way. Like it's more so the seasoning that you think you're going to miss out on, but really that's in all plant-based and vegan foods. How
long have you been vegan for?
I've been going on 6 years now.
Insane. Amazing.
Yeah, 6 years. And it was definitely a different scene back then. Like,
oh man,
there was no vegan restaurants
the
around
last 2 years even.
Yeah, even the last 2 years, how much it's blown up is crazy. But definitely back then it was a lot more difficult, but just something I knew I had to do, man.
Yeah, man. It's the right time for anyone who's, I'm not gonna say on the fence, but like
it's never been easier now though.
There's no excuse. There's really no excuses other than there's no excuses if you're gonna argue that like I could never give up cheese. Like I was at a restaurant in New York a couple months ago and I had a crazy cheese plate. So on the topic of fksalad, I don't know if you've noticed this box in the back here.
Cheeky panago.
Cheeky panago. You know, this is actually funny because I'm not embarrassed to like try this pizza with you, but we just talked about like steaks and like octopus, and now we're gonna eat these mangled slices of cold pizza.
They've been sat out for a bit.
But I mean, like panago
still
does
good
it right.
though, man.
Oh, this is yours.
No, it's alright.
Still good. A little bit of pepperoni in here.
You don't have to sacrifice the foods that you love. Right? Like, it's still a pizza.
You can eat on this, bro.
It's the same crust anyway, same sauce. Only thing that's different is the cheese, and it's like, okay, it might not have the exact same texture, but
you deal with it.
There's so many options.
Man,
there's options at every single fast food place now, which is wild to me. Like,
yeah.
Back when I was starting out, no fast food chain had even one vegan option.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe some vegetarian stuff, but
not vegan.
It was very, very difficult at the beginning.
Totally right. I would totally plug Altered Ways, but maybe I'll just say go find that on my YouTube. It's way down below a bunch of these talk shows that I've been doing. But I'm gonna actually plug in, not an ad here, I'm gonna run a movie that you maybe recommend people to watch. So we'll be right back. I'll be honest, I haven't seen that film, so I'm gonna check that out.
Definitely, it's a good watch.
It's a good watch. You haven't even decided what you're gonna put yet.
Yeah, we don't even know what we're putting there yet, but you've already seen it, so.
I hope it was good, and I'm gonna watch it. I've actually like been kind of, like I hinted before, Altered Ways. That was a pretty like fun film to make, but it'd be cool to do something with a bigger purpose in terms of like a vegan type of filmmaking. And I actually feel like maybe our future could go the kind of environmental vegan high quality production film. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you enjoy watching. I'm not the best with like the research and all that in terms of like adding that into a film, but I feel like we could make a very like effective piece one day.
Yeah, no, I'd love to, man. I think people need to be aware, because a lot of people aren't aware of really what is going on, and how much what we're putting into our bodies and what we're consuming is affecting the planet, and you know, the entire environment and the ecosystems that we live in. It's completely decimating it. And that's just what we eat.
Yeah. Have you thought about films, the ideas before, actually? Like, have you ever penned one out?
Yeah, it's actually funny going back to the media arts course that I did.
You were vegan.
Yeah, no, I wasn't even vegan at that
then.
point. It's funny that you brought that up, but I actually made a short film called Consumed back in my, you know, last year of high school. I was like probably 17, and it was about consumerism and the effect that it's having on the planet. And this was when I was like 17. Nobody else in my class was like prepared for that at all. I was showing like graphic images. Like, I went around and filmed like all this crazy stuff. Like, I'd have to see if I can get a clip and we'll splice it in.
Yeah, we can put it. We put it right here if you find it.
If I can find it. It's an old one. It might be on a disc somewhere or something. But
floppy drive.
This was before I was even vegan, but I was, you know, touching on how consumerism and our, you know, just our society is really affecting the planet, and what, you know, what our culture is doing to it. But that was not even including veganism at all,
right.
or the impacts that you know, animal agriculture and things like that are having on our planet, because I had no idea back then.
Yeah.
I literally had no clue, and it actually took a documentary on juicing to kind of get those cogs turning, and for me to start figuring out like really what is going on. But it was more the health side of things for me, of what it started out with. So randomly just saw a documentary on juicing called Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead. That's a good one. I have to check that one out. That might be the one we put in. No, I'm joking. But that got me going on the veganism, because it really just showed you what we're putting into our body really does to us. And I was like, wow, this is what is going on. This is what we're doing to ourselves.
Yeah.
And from then it was like, boom, overnight, cold turkey, I'm going vegan. That was the switch.
Cold vegan turkey.
Cold vegan turkey, pardon the pun, but it was definitely the health aspect first, and then going into it and researching, okay, like what can I eat, what can I, you know, consume, and that kind of thing. That led me to the environmental impacts, the ethical impacts, which was massive. Like, once you see some of that stuff, you can't unsee it. You know, like some of those videos and stories from slaughterhouses and things like that. Like you can't unsee that. Everyone says, oh yeah, I've seen those videos, that doesn't happen. Like, that doesn't happen here, that's a one-off case. The reality of it is that happens everywhere. That happens in Canada, it happens in England. It's, you know, standard practice is some of the most gruesome things that you can imagine. So the ethical side is definitely something that came later on, but that's a massive thing that I stand behind now, and a big reason why I continue to do it.
Fair enough.
Was the ethical, you know, impact and the environmental impact, definitely the health.
What can Canada do better?
In terms of
maybe educate, like, we didn't, like, wow, I guess times have changed, but do they teach like veganism in schools?
No.
Like, does that need to be brought up? Like, kind of.
It does, but they don't want you to know about that. All of this stuff is suppressed and hidden. Because it's massive industry, right? It's huge business.
Yeah, milk.
They're pushing milk.
This show should be called Fuck Milk.
Fuck Milk. Yo, you might have to switch the name.
I might, for this episode, that's the title.
This is Fuck Milk.
Fuck Milk, honestly, because like, because salad's nice.
Yeah, no, big up salad, but
you wanted to say
salad. No, but for real, man, like, we're taught, you know, all throughout school that we need milk for strong bones, and it's actually the opposite. That leaches our calcium. So it's completely backwards, but it's a massive industry, right? So they're teaching that and pushing it on students and kids in schools, right? Like, remember you had like milk days in school and that, you'd get like the chocolate milk and all that.
Yeah, it was all cute and fun.
Yeah, exactly. But really that's all just a runoff of animal agriculture and big industries, right? So,
well, then maybe it's our responsibility then, and I think that kind of does stem back to like the reason why I'm maybe not doing this talk show, but it's the reason why at least I pull something out of the glove box or give someone a little bit of my leftovers.
Yeah, even if it's cold.
Even if it's cold and actually the most chins. It's that's my way, in a very microscopic way, and I can't wait to
just planting that seed in it.
I can't wait to like make bigger stuff, and I feel like maybe that's our calling together one day.
Could be, man.
Well, maybe we should go plan something. Any last words?
Let's do it.
This has been a fun one. This has been the longest episode.
It's been a good one, man. You said it'd be the longest.
It definitely was.
I think we might need another cup of tea because it's freezing out here.
Yeah.
Vince is chintzing on the gas. He doesn't want to run the heat.
Well, everyone's been just mooching the gas in my car, taking my food. So
yeah, he's going to send e-transfer request to all the guests. $5 for gas.
Yeah, $5 for gas and $20 for
and then he's gonna be profiting off it by the end.
Well, that's what I'm still saying. If you have an ad, let me know. I'll run it, and $20 will put your...
Trying to get that ad money.
Yeah, and I also need money for the charity. Whenever time this falls, I've been donating to charity.
That's good.
Actually, I gotta talk to Haley about that. She'll be the next podcast because I want to talk to her about which charity I can donate my $40 to.
Yeah. Well, she's an amazing vegan cook.
So what's she gonna make me? Let's foreshadow.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? You know her well. What do you think?
What you would like?
Yeah. And I'm gonna make her make it for me.
She does a really good vegan shepherd's pie.
Let's get out of here. I gotta go tell her.
That's English as well, so.
Done deal. All right,
man.
Thanks for watching. See you guys in 2 days.
Bless.
Don't forget your teacup, bro.
Got it.